No, pues me dices. Creo que lo puse chueco.
¿El papel?
Con la paleta.
Ya.
¿Sí? Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? Danny already posted the link for the image that we're going to use today. And I mean, it's not perfectly like black and white photo, it's more like a sepia toned photograph. It's a portrait of Jacek Malczewski, a very, very good Polish painter. If you don't know him, please look up his work because he is one of my favorite painters. Particularly, one of my favorite painters from the 19th century, like the latter half, end of the 19th century. And even though I don't really quite consider the symbolists like a very solid school because it actually speaks about very broad things. I mean, there's nothing that honestly connected painters from different areas of Europe that were doing symbolist work, but they all kind of fit under that definition. I guess Malczewski is considered a symbolist. So, if you like work that has kind of like a natural foundation, like a naturalist foundation, and still can be very poetic and very fantastical also, in a lot of respects. Very, very expressive with the use of color. Maybe his earlier work, he was a little more subdued, a little more controlled, but eventually he's a fascinating kind of expressionist. And I loved him. I absolutely loved his work when I went to Poland. I mean, he was one of the two artists that I wanted to go and see their work personally, him and Jan Matejko. And I've told this, 100 times before, but when I was in Poland, I discovered Olga Woznanska's work, and she just, changed my universe and turned everything upside down. So I went to Poland to look for these two guys, and I ended up, falling in love and seeing the work of Woznanska, and quickly, almost immediately, becoming for sure one of my favorite painters ever. I mean, it's almost like jokingly when you say when you make your top 5 of anything, because that doesn't really mean anything. but she, if I have to think of my top 5 favorite painters, she is there. Olga Woznanska is for sure there. So she really did change my life. So what we're supposed to do today is that we're going to take this photograph and we are going to try to interpret the color. Now, I'm going to take the word interpret and use that, definition quite liberally, and I'm going to be really, really expressive, almost like trying to pay homage to Malczewski. So, dime.
¿Puedes decir que ya el link estás, que pusiste el de ayer? Otra vez.
So, for some reason, I don't know what I'm doing. I could have sworn that I put the right Dropbox link today also, and I think it has to do with Dropbox. Honestly, I don't. I know which one I'm clicking and sharing, but for some reason it linked also yesterday's. So we're a day behind in our links also. But I think Danny updated it, so I think it's all good. So we're gonna take this photo, and like I said, we're going to interpret the color. Keyword here, interpret. We're going to be very expressive because we want to, well, not we, I mean, I want to be very respectful of the things that I really like about Malczewski's painting. You guys can interpret, if you're painting along, you guys can interpret, the colors in any way you want. You could actually, if you want, you could use yesterday's palette, the Zorn palette to do that. if you want to work with the palette that we're going to work today, you can do that. I'm going to work with primary colors, so plus titanium white. So titanium white, I'm going to use my bismuth yellow. My palette is super dirty because I painted this morning. So titanium white, bismuth yellow, cad red, and ultramarine blue. If you don't have those primaries, that's totally fine. You can use any yellow. I mean, you could use, titanium white, yellow ochre, alizarin, and ultramarine blue, and it would be totally fine. That's completely fine. Obviously, the variables that would be available to you are different than the ones that are available to me. Today I'm going to have like a high chroma palette, not all throughout the primaries because my ultramarine blue, it's like a workhorse blue. So, I'm not going to get much of saturation coming from there. But bismuth yellow, a very saturated, very nice high chroma from that yellow green, and obviously high chroma from my cad red. So that's going to be my palette, and we'll see how we do. And I actually liked a lot the way we started yesterday, so I'm going to go for color straight from the start. So let me see if I can describe my plan. For the face, I'm going to go warm, like a darker reddish hue, maybe a cooler red, maybe a cool red. And here's the tough part that I haven't decided yet. I know that those sleeves could look sick if they're like yellow, maybe like a nice kind of bright yellow. The hands down here, I thought I would make up the hands and just leave room. I would make up the bottom part of the hand, which is cut off in the photograph, and I would just leave room for the hands because they always tell you like hands need air and need space. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to follow the photo, and that's totally fine. It's not that I couldn't make up like a little bit of the hand, of the bottom of the hand. I could do that, but I don't know. It's just that I don't want the interest of the painting to be here in this little corner here. This has to be very, very secondary. And I don't know what to do with this shirt / vest / dress. It looks like a school dress, like a little school, like a kindergarten, like dress. I don't know, like uniform. I love that. I absolutely love that. And one of the things that I really, really like is because he is putting all his weight on that left shoulder, on that left elbow, I'm sorry. You can sense when the, when the rib cage is kind of changing, when the weight changes direction. So you can sense the hips being here, and then his axis, the axis of his body changes direction. So his rib cage is coming down, and then it just totally changes direction. His hips jut out, and I just love that bit of gesture that's over here. And because it's a vest, we have that line just coming down that's going to help us so much to speak about that that turn in the structure. So I love that. So, but what I don't know is what I want to do with the vest, and it has that beautiful pattern. And I don't know what to do with that because I think I could solve it very expressively, but it's so much pattern there. Like I wish I could draw on top of it, and that would be super nice. But I don't know if I could pull it off. I'm very insecure about that. So let's see. Let's see how we do. So, but that's my plan, and let's see if I just for sure, end up crashing and burning. That's probably what's going to happen. So we'll see. Remember, just if you want to follow, just primary colors plus titanium white. And I want to use a lot of my real estate, let's call it that. I want to see if I can just use all of this paper. So going right to the edge of that paper. Hence, I'm going to use a little more yellow. I think that space is good. The good thing about starting with just, these masses of color, I mean, there's not a lot of color also. I'm dragging the color down. So that actually leaves a lot of room for building color on top of that. I'm not scared to put, more paint on top of this because I'm actually not putting a ton of paint. It seems like it's a lot of paint. It's kind of like the nice thing about paper also. It just seems that way, but there's not really a ton of color there. So, and I'm going to use this synthetic. It's softer. It's filbert, ivory filbert from Rosemary. I was gifted these brushes, by the way. So I always, I did a workshop and they were there and they just gave me brushes. I haven't really bought any Rosemary brushes. So whenever somebody gives me something, I don't promote them or anything, but I at least like acknowledge that they were kind enough to give me these brushes. And honestly, they're super kind, and they obviously make really nice brushes. I just try not to get used to like really nice things because here in Bogota we don't get a lot of nice materials. So, if I start getting used to something that's super nice and then I can't find it, I'm gonna be regretting it. I'm gonna think that, oh, I can't paint just because I can't find it. So I don't want that feeling.
La conexión está súper mal.
¿Sí?
No sé si hay algo más abierto.
No creo. La gente está diciendo que se siente...
Sí, que está buffering. Y es que el stream tiene como un estado y está en poor.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out, our internet is not incredible. I mean, we don't have like, giga net, but it's also not terrible. We have 150 megs down, but 10 megs up. So I don't know if that's great, for US standards. But here in Bogota, that's actually pretty good. But for some reason, I don't know if that's good enough for streaming. I mean, we are trying things out. It's, we're probably next year, not probably, for sure next year, we're gonna go back to editing our videos and doing voiceovers. But we wanted to try this for end of the year just to do something a little bit different. And I don't know, maybe it's just not, maybe we don't have like the best conditions to do this. So let us know if it's like bearable or if it's or if it just clearly doesn't work, because we haven't changed anything from yesterday, and I think yesterday we had a good experience. So yeah, we have the same bit rate, we're doing exactly the same thing, but I don't know.
¿Estás usando el bismuth yellow y yellow ochre?
No, not yellow ochre. Nope,
So
just bismuth yellow. Just bismuth yellow. If you can't find bismuth yellow anywhere, don't worry. It's just a regular, yellow green. So it can be any lemon yellow or any color kind of like that, or it can be any. I changed brushes because I want my color to be a little bit cleaner here, or it can be any kind of lemon cadmium yellow. Not so much towards the cadmium, just so it doesn't feel too orange. Let me see if this is, since I don't wipe, I just wipe my brushes. I don't want it to get super dirty. I don't want that yellow to get super dirty. But, of course, I got it dirty, and of course, I don't mind.
Te preguntan, espera, what do you think about ballpoint art?
Very nice. My teacher, Steve Essel, he was amazing at doing ballpoint drawings. So that's the first time, I used to do I used to understand ballpoint pen drawings as something that you did in high school, in your notebooks. But when I saw Steve do it, he had, ¿cómo se dicen minas? En de esfero, no, ni idea. Terrible.
Uy, no sé, espera.
He had, I think it was, I don't need, pilot pen cartridges, maybe, the cartridge and the tip. So he would draw with that. He wouldn't really draw with a pen. He would just draw with the cartridge and the tip of the pen. It was very strange. But, you know, it worked for him, I guess. But he was amazing. He was absolutely incredible. I had no idea that, you know, you could do a drawing like that. And he was incredible with that, with those drawings. I mean, it just blew your mind. So yeah, any tool, you could draw with a rock if you want to, but yeah, drawing is amazing in that sense that you don't have to use the most incredible tool, because drawing is so fundamental that you know, all you need is like a rock and a sidewalk, and you're good. You're gonna be fine.
Andrés Gómez pregunta, en la página web le salen todas las pinturas vendidas, ¿es eso cierto?
Sí, gracias Andrés por la incredulidad. Sí, claro, pues no nos serviría de nada. Nosotros vivimos de vender las pinturas. No nos serviría de nada poner que vendimos la pintura cuando no la vendimos. O sea, nuestro interés sería siempre en vender la pintura. No nos serviría nunca decir como, sí, la vendimos y no la vendimos. Y lo chévere, Andrés, es que pues está la gente, o sea, la gente que la compra es la, digamos, la factura. O sea, usted puede ver que muchísima gente, no todos tienen que hacerlo, pero muchísima gente que compra nuestras pinturas es muy chévere y las postea en Instagram cuando les llegan. Entonces es muy, muy bacano. Pero sí, o sea, no nos convendría en ningún nivel tratar de inventarnos como un mercado, porque nosotros dos, Dani y yo, y pues indirectamente mis hijos, y todas las personas que también se afectan por el trabajo que hace Dani, pues vivimos de esto. Entonces pues no serviría de nada crear como un mercado así todo ficticio. No, sí. Antes yo he hablado mucho de esto como en unos podcasts, pero mi mamá, que de pronto está oyendo, mi mamá divina, mi mamá se pone nerviosísima si a la media hora no vendemos una pintura. O sea, mi mamá piensa que es que ya no hay nada que hacer, que es terrible lo que pasó y fue pérdidas todo el día porque no la logramos vender como en 5 minutos. Entonces se pone muy nerviosa. Pero no, lo que en últimas quiero decir con eso, Andrés, es que nos ha ido súper bien y somos súper agradecidos con eso.
I was wondering if you have heard of Walter Everett. He was a student of Howard Pyle. No sé.
Yeah. He's amazing. His shapes are incredible. Of all the illustrators, I think he has this, you know, just insane notion of how to tell a story through shapes and design. So he's incredible. He's absolutely incredible. Those nun paintings are amazing.
Planning on doing an ink week?
I should try. I've seen who have I seen work with just traditional pen and nib ink? I don't remember now. But yeah, I can try. I can give it a shot. I know that Proco was posting something. I think it was Finch, but he was teaching how to cross hatch, how to do hatching, or just one type of hatching, because there really isn't one type of hatching. And it was really cool. I am of the school of maybe Gibson or Joseph Clement Cole. So I love that sort of very kind of organic hatching. I really like that. so my big relationships are here. I can kind of see what my image is supposed to look like. I took that off a little bit. It was just way too chunky, I felt. But I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the gesture. Like, I haven't solved it quite yet, but that break is the one that I was talking about. That, you know, through very little, we should be able to tell that that his weight is on that elbow right there. So it's pretty cool.
Andrés Gómez te respondió, no era por incredulidad, sino por interés en comprar y pensé que había un error en la web.
Ah, no, muy querido Andrés, muy amable, muy amable. No, nos va muy bien, somos muy afortunados, honestamente. La gente, más allá de comprar una pintura, creo que la gente ha apoyado muchísimo como el proyecto, la idea detrás del proyecto. Entonces creo que lo que terminan apoyando es la filosofía de lo que estamos haciendo, lo que estamos tratando de hacer, y en últimas pues eso es lo que posibilita, o sea, el apoyo de la gente es lo que posibilita que podamos seguir haciendo videos y haciéndolos, y lo más importante pues haciéndolos disponibles para la gente que pues de pronto no tiene cómo pagar un Patreon o no tiene cómo pagar otras de esas escuelas que son virtuales, y pues todo lo que ponemos nosotros es gratis. O sea, se pueden meter a ver los videos y a bajar las imágenes en alta resolución todas las semanas, todos los días de todas las semanas. Y yo siempre digo, me ha regañado gente cuando digo eso, pero siempre digo que pues pueden hacer lo que quieran con las imágenes, las pueden imprimir, le pueden hacer lo que quieran, pueden sacar un libro, no pasa nada, no voy a perseguir a nadie.
Mike Smith pregunta,
Hey Mike.
I'll kind of rephrase my question because I don't think it got through the last time. Do you still find painting on air quotes properly primed surfaces enjoyable, and how does it affect the way you work?
Okay, I remember the question. So I'm sorry if I didn't quite answer the question properly. You know, I get lost in I go into tangents just naturally. So forgive me if I was answering that and then I forgot what the question was and I kept just answering something else. That's very normal for me. So I apologize if that's what happened. You know what? I'm super excited to see if it actually has affected me, because if I have to be honest, Mike, I haven't really gone back to painting with any traditional sort of priming. So I've been so happy with doing these sort of, you know, exercises and efforts in this raw paper that I haven't kind of looked back. I haven't tried to go back and see how my painting would be affected. I'd like to believe, if I have to be honest with you, I'd like to believe that even though I'm very, you know, sensitive and I think my sensibility is close to what I'm doing right now, is very, very close to this sort of, you know, paint handling and to you know, trying to develop a painting in these surfaces, because it's something that this is not new. This is not something that's improvised. This is something that, you know, now that I'm talking about Polish painting and that I'm talking about Boznanska, this is something that I saw in her work, and this is probably like the reason that I'm doing this today. It's something that I saw in her work about, you know, when did I travel to Poland? Maybe 15, 16, 17 years ago. So I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. It's just that my being almost like attached to just a natural, sort of like a naturalist tendency, and understanding that as my schooling and just being very sensitive to what painting was supposed to be like, almost impeded me from thinking that I could paint on a piece of cardboard that was raw, which is what Boznanska did. It was just a piece of board, a lot of her paintings, almost all of her paintings, are on cardboard, not unlike the ones of Toulouse-Lautrec. So this is not new. This is not weird. It's not like it's a Polish thing. No, it's actually something that's quite normal in the 19th century, and even before then. But people were painting in just any piece of whatever substrate they could find, and it's totally fine. It's just that your expectation as a painter has to be also kind of transformed. You can't expect this to feel like a piece of linen, portrait grade linen. So but as soon as you understand that and you accept that, then you're good. Then you're pretty good. But so I'd like to believe that I would be able to make that sort of transition and understand that, oh yeah, I'm back to painting on linen, let's say, or any piece of cloth or wood or any hard surface that is primed. I'd like to believe that I could. That's because that was exclusively how I painted for almost 20 years. So I'm sure that it's not something that I'm going to forget. But I know that it's not, excuse me, it's not whim. It's not because of caprice that I've been almost hesitant to go back. It's because I'm really, really content, like very happy with the discoveries that I kind of have made with the surface and with how my paint sort of behaves. How I handle paint on these substrates. So it's not being stubborn. It's not just because this is conducive to our project. It's actually because I really, really like it. Like I think what I was hoping that would happen happened indeed. So, which was just connecting with a surface. But you're right. Like eventually, I'll probably go back just to see how it feels, just to try to gauge how it feels, and who knows. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely comfortable. Maybe I fall in love with it again. Maybe I'm like, oh, this is what happens when paint just sort of glides. But you know what? I don't think that's going to happen because I love a surface that kind of fights back. I love it. Like that to me is incredibly, incredibly enjoyable. So a lot of people don't. A lot of people just love to just kind of tickle a surface and have just paint be deposited like beautifully, on top of that surface. Not me. I actually really, really enjoy fighting a little bit with the surface. So if it has some grab to it, if it has some tooth to it, I love that. So hopefully that answered the question a little bit better.
And what do you think of Jenny Saville?
She's great. She's amazing. I think that I don't, even though some of the drawings that she's doing now are really fantastic, but I don't like as much as I liked, the work from her work from the, what was it, maybe 2000s? 2000, early 2000, late 90s maybe. I actually was super, super lucky to be studying at the time where she did, a show. Oh my God, where was it? Maybe it was Mary Boone or it was Gagosian. It's probably Gagosian. But we went to the gallery and I saw this painting of these three women that are on top of each other. It's the size of a bus. I mean, this painting was huge. It was absolutely humongous. And I was blown away. And I've talked about this before, but what was, I think, like even cute, because I was like this young, painter, this young art student, was that when I looked at those paintings, I was like, how do you even paint these? Like, how much are these worth just in paint alone? Because that just reflected on my reality. I didn't have a lot of money to buy paint, so I just couldn't conceive these huge paintings, of these huge paintings being executed based solely on the fact that I just didn't know how you would buy enough paint for, to paint them. So it was very innocent in my part, but it still remains to be true. I mean, I'll show you guys because I'm super, super jealous. Danny's gonna link the image, but I'm super, super jealous of people when they show like all the paint that they have. I'm gonna show you guys the paint that I have, and it's not gonna focus. I'm sorry, but this is my little tub of paint. That's all the paint that I own. Like that's it. That's that's every tube of paint that I own. So it fits in that little Tupperware. And I'm fine with it. I'm totally cool with that. So every time I see people just buying like what comes like to be thousands of dollars worth of paint, I'm like, oh my God, that's way too much paint. And that's amazing. I still feel like, oh, that's incredible for them, but yeah, I can't do it. And maybe I can do it, but it's just, there's something that feels weird if I did it. I don't know, it just feels off. It just feels like it would be me saying, well, that's just too much paint, like you're wasting paint or something. I don't know. Maybe that's my mother's side in me. My mother just saying, that's too much paint. You don't need so much paint.
David pregunta, what is a non-art day for you like? Like those days where you just take a break from art?
I like to be with my children, so whatever that means. Sometimes, my son is 13, so a day with him is a day where you don't bother him. So, where you just leave him alone and he can just play Fortnite or Rocket League or what else does he play? Ark, stuff like that. But if not, I'm with my daughter. She's more open to doing anything, and she loves like little activities. Danny is awesome at making up activities with her. So yeah, and if it's me personally, if I have to, tell you what I like, I also like video games. I really am. I'm not good at them, but I think that they're necessary I've gamed all my life. I've played, I've had like the NES. I had the NES. We even had the Atari before the NES, but so it's always kind of been part of my life, and it's always that escape. I mean, I don't know if it's escapism, but it's just this, awesome way of just, kind of going to these amazingly designed imaginary worlds that, I don't know, just take your mind elsewhere. And I think that that's where I get my fix, having unfortunately not been able to pursue that part of the life that I kind of imagined for me at some point, of being like illustrator or comic book artist, where I would be surrounded by just these imagined worlds and imagined characters and imagined kind of beings. I think that video games kind of do that for me. So yeah, so it's that. But honestly, like, I don't know how to express like a normal quote unquote day, during this year. So probably feels a little different than every other year. But yeah, that's me, unapologetic. Love video games, and if I can watch a soccer match, a football match, that's amazing. Right now, I love you guys, and you know how I love you guys, and hopefully there's like a Prem League fan among the people that are watching. If you guys know anything about me, you know that I am a very big Liverpool fan. Even before Istanbul. So even before then, I've always liked two teams, two Premier League teams, Arsenal and Liverpool. And because I am Colombian, I can pick either of them. And right now, Tottenham, the Spurs, are playing Liverpool, and any other year that would have been like, oh, who cares? But they're actually top of the league right now, both of them. And this is happening right now. So I have no idea, why I'm painting at this hour. This goes to show that painting is, to me, the most important thing in my life. Because if this painting doesn't come out, is because I couldn't watch the game. I was just thinking about the game, throughout the painting session. So, but if anyone out there wants to keep me posted with a live score, then that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. But I promise I'll promise I'll be present here while painting.
Luca pregunta, how do I get painted by you? ¿Cómo sé? Sí, en español después pregunto lo mismo.
Luca, y el apellido es que Luca.
Luca Flynn.
Luca Flynn. Luca, just send me some pictures and I'll paint you, and that's fine. I mean, it's not a, some people are like, oh my God, you painted me. No, dude, that's like, I think I said this in a video like a couple of days ago, but I'm the one who's grateful if people share photos for me to paint of them, because I'm the one who, through those images can actually learn a lot about painting. So yeah, I'm the one who's very grateful if I have the chance to paint from some cool photographs and reference and yeah. So no, just if you're okay, just send them to me, through a DM in my Instagram, and I'll be super grateful and super happy.
Marco pregunta, Yupo paper?
No, Marco, I haven't used it ever since I ran out of it because I have to order it online and it takes a while to get here. So, and I'm not very good at planning. For example, I ran out of bismuth. This is my bismuth yellow now. So I ran out of it, and I should have known better, and I should have ordered this, because things get here about 2.5 weeks, in 2.5 weeks, if I order them online, because I have to order them to get, I have a P.O. box in the US, and I have to order them first to get there, and then they'll ship them here, and I have to pay taxes, import taxes here to receive them. But that takes a little bit, so I should have ordered that, with, in a timely fashion, but I never do, and that's what happened with Yupo. I should have, I liked Yupo paper. I liked it. It's a very strange, very very strange paper, or let's call it surface, more than paper. It's just a piece of plastic, really, but I haven't used it ever since I ran out. I think I bought 2 pads, so whatever that came up to, like 20 paintings, maybe 10, 12 pages per pad, maybe, I don't know, I forget. But I know I did a lot of paintings, or some paintings for the for our channel, but yeah, unfortunately that's all kind of gone.
Incluso creo que hiciste pinturas de artistas ahorita que hablabas de.
Oh, right. Maybe that's why you're asking, because this exercise we did on Yupo. That's maybe why you're making that connection. But no. This is actually the same paper that I used yesterday. So it's a unbound spread of a moleskin kind of artist sketchbook. So that's one of my go-to papers. I really like the moleskin art. What is it called? I think just sketchbook. I think the reference is sketchbook, which is insane. I always think that's like the dumbest and weirdest reference, but yeah, so I always use that one.
Te dicen, hola, saludos de un tico desde Estados Unidos.
Hola, tico.
Siempre he tenido problemas con mis valores que son súper importantes. Do you have any tips as how to practice, how to measure values better?
No sé, es que me hizo Spanglish ahí, entonces no sé si responderle en español. Además, los costarricenses son los que tienen el acento más parecido a los bogotanos, entonces yo siento una empatía muy, muy grande. Ese porque siento que Navas es un arquerazo, entonces esas dos cosas. So in English maybe, because you finished in English. Value, how to work on value. I think you have to teach your eye. I don't trust, like, you could actually use your cell phone, like, if you want to try and turn whatever you're looking at in nature into black and white just so that you can concentrate on value. But I'd much rather train my eyes, like, in a natural way, in a very natural way. So honestly, if you want to train value, just work on monochromatic paintings. Just don't do full palette paintings. Don't have a lot of variables in your paintings. Just strip it to the barest, to the bare minimum, and just be happy with concentrating on value. Or you don't even have to paint. You can even do what my teacher made me do, which is just take a piece of newsprint paper, papel periódico, and use a kneaded eraser and just lift your lights, and just do that. And that is a very kind of close exercise to the one that you would do when you're comparing values in painting. So that would actually make a ton of sense. There's something bothering me with the head because it's too high up and it just seems kind of nestled here a lot more. So I have to move the features, but that's kind of cool because I can make the forehead just very big. I'm not gonna make it that big, but it would look like what's the villain from Green Lantern called? The guy with the really big head. I forget what he was called. This is killing me. ¿Lo estás buscando?
Sí.
Es el que tiene una cabeza gigante.
Hector Hammond.
No.
No me sale el nombre, me salen las fotos.
Maybe somebody can help.
Name. Sinestro.
No, it's not Sinestro. No.
Es que me sale una lista.
Tiene una cabeza gigante. O sea, es grande. La frente.
Sí, es que tengo la imagen acá. O sea, mira. Es este.
Sí, es él.
Pero.
Ahí tiene que decir.
No. Captain Jordan.
No. Ese es Hal Jordan, es Green Lantern. ¿Y nadie ha dicho?
No. Sinestro dijo alguien.
No.
Name. Forehead. A ver si sale. Oye, no aparece.
Sí. Apenas me lo digas me acuerdo. Forgot the dude's name.
Hector Hammond me sale acá.
No.
Fictional character. Enemy of Green Lantern.
Sí, pero tiene un nombre, ¿no? Tiene un nombre de villano, o sea.
A ver.
I'm sorry, we're looking for the dude's name because now I have to remember it. Or maybe he doesn't even have a name. No, he has a name. I'm pretty sure.
No puedo creer que no salga. Parallax, no, ¿qué es eso?
No.
Es que creo que sí es Héctor.
Well, anyways, doesn't matter. But it looks like that dude's he looks like that villain.
Peter Sarsgaard.
Ese es el actor que lo.
Mira que sí es Hector Hammond, dice acá.
Pero no tiene un nombre.
Que es un profesor de high school, dice.
He's just a dude? He doesn't have like a villain name? That's crazy. Crazy.
No veo. Uy, no lo encuentro. Espérate, te hago otra pregunta mientras. Sí, te están diciendo Hector Hammond o Hammond o como se dice.
Dude, maybe he doesn't have a name.
Maybe Hulk villain the leader.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Maybe the leader. Yeah. That's why I thought.
Oh yeah, could be Hector Hammond, Dr. Hector Hammond, Mastermind, Crank.
There's a ton of big. Now we've established that there's way too many villains with like
Wildcard,
huge heads.
y te dijeron que el partido va 1-1.
Uy, huepucha.
Sí, alguien en inglés. Pues alguien me escribió en inglés.
Thank you for the live score. Thank you.
Mm,
If Liverpool is losing, don't even dare. Don't even, because if you want to see the stream end, then please share it. But no.
alguien dice, es que creo que lo respondiste ayer, pero en español y lo quieren saber acá.
¿Sí?
Dice, I noticed that you don't sign those paintings you've been selling on our painted lives, and I would very much like to know the honest reason behind that choice. Thank you.
Oh, do you want me to read? I think I can look for this. Let me look for this email that I sent, because maybe this is somebody asked yesterday, but let me see. I'm searching for my email, because I actually wrote like a very specific thing, because David at Abend also asked me, he also told me that people were curious about that. And I had to send him, I didn't have to, but I sent him, a, let me see if it's right here. Okay, so I'm going to read it. It's a little bit, it's a little wall of text if you would see it in my cell phone. But I'm going to read it, and I think it's better than any explanation that I could give you right now, because I wrote this like super consciously. So let me see. It'll take just like a minute. Thank you for. So this is me talking to David. Hi, thank you for your generosity and support. I wanted to clear. Oh no, this is me talking to. Also to David. He was super generous and supportive. But so this is what he would send to all the people that bought the paintings. So this also applies for the people that have bought the paintings through the webpage. So I wrote, hi, thank you for your generosity and support. I wanted to clear something up regarding the absence of my signature in not only these, but hundreds of paintings I've done throughout the years. I would please ask of you to consider this conscious act not as an avoidance of ownership or lack of pride in what I do, but as an attempt to purge the paintings from what I feel are formalities, exogenous variables to the act of painting. Looking back, I feel I was almost obligated to sign my paintings. I despised having to practice a signature that would look like it belonged to the painted image, a painted signature, if you will. I eventually accepted a clumsy attempt at signing with a lining brush, but I always hated the end result. It was terrible, by the way. I often tried to make it as invisible as I possibly could, almost like Hirschfeld hid Nina's name in his illustrations. If you don't know this, like Hirschfeld would hide the name of his daughter, Nina, in all of his illustrations. So it's actually like a really nice game to try to find where he wrote Nina. It's really, really beautiful. So anyways, making the act of signing something absolutely irrelevant. If it's invisible, why sign it? I was then prompted to sign the back of the paintings, which I also saw as an almost notarial act. I looked that word up because I know that word in Spanish, and I realized, I can use that word in English, but I don't know how to quite say it. I guess throughout the years, all I wanted was for the painting to just be. In my mind, I never associated a signature with a stamp of approval. And today, I still feel the same way. I don't believe in the longevity of paintings. I don't believe in an unregulated art market with disproportionate prices. And I don't believe in a signature as a validating device. I also don't expect my manner of working to be identifiable and suddenly replace my refusal to sign my work. I think I've constantly pushed myself to find a wide array of possibilities through painting that it's almost impossible for me to define what my painting looks like. So I say no catalog raisonné of my work in the future, I'm afraid, because all my work is so weird and so eclectic that, putting it together would just feel kind of strange. What I would want to be apparent when looking at my work is that it was done lovingly. It's the result of an act executed thoughtfully and with care. I'm not really important in this equation. I hope you can all respect my sentiment and that in no way it subtracts from the resulting painting. And then I say, again, Danny, Fer, Samu, and myself, thank you for all your generosity and support. So maybe that helps a little bit, maybe, hopefully. It is a very conscious choice. It is, something that I've thought about. It's not just haphazard. It's not just, me being very pedantic and not wanting to sign something. It's not me avoiding a responsibility. It's not me not feeling like these daily paintings are not worth my signature. No, my signature is not worth anything. If anything is, my signature is just not, it's nothing. It's this very abstract thing that doesn't mean anything. So I much rather have, the paintings or the connection that a person can have with my work through the painting, or that they don't have to really connect, entirely through, with my intent. They can actually appropriate the painting, and give it a very specific meaning themselves, and that would be super cool also. So I don't know, I feel, like I said, this is not just me being, I'm sorry, I put a brush in my mouth. No, gracias. This is not me just being like, I don't want to sign a painting and I'm throwing a tantrum here. No, I even think that it's, it's a choice. Like, they're my paintings, so if I don't want to sign them, that's totally fine. It shouldn't even be weird. If people want like specific, like other devices, other things that can speak about the ownership of the painting, I can send them like a piece of paper that says, I did this painting. And, that's very normal also in the art world, that you have certificates that just say, yeah, this is, this work of art belongs to this person, to this artist. But regardless, I don't know. I just don't connect with the signing of a painting. But this is not just trying to be weird. This is not just trying to be annoying. I've done it for many years now. And I can understand why people would be like, oh, where's the signature? And feel, I don't know. I don't even know how they would feel, because I don't really feel anything by not signing it. But I can see that if when judged, through the lens of more traditional, I guess, of what is expected of more traditional works, then it would seem like I'm avoiding doing something that I should do, and it's not. It's not a small act of give me a second while I'm trying to do this nose. Yeah, I'm not trying to be a revolutionary with doing that. So, no. It's just that I don't like to sign the painting. It's almost like as simple as that. But it has nothing to do with size of the paintings or with the complexity of the paintings. It's not like, okay, now I'm gonna sign this painting because I'm so proud of it. Nope, nothing like that. And I'm being super honest with this answer.
Creo que el 80% de los comentarios son tratando de adivinar el nombre. Sí, hasta Camilo Calderón comentó el nombre. Do you or did you have... No, perdón. Do you or did you ever have an issue with silencing your inner critic? Any professors you had to get out of your head?
Not teachers, no. I didn't appreciate that when I left my art school. It was very, very evident that who were my teachers. That I remember not feeling great about, because I wanted to be my own painter, and every other person I met were like, "Oh, you were, Steve Assell's. You are Steve Assell's student. It just shows. It's like very, very evident with your work." And I was like, "Oh my God, how do you get rid of that?" And I love Steve, by the way. This is a man that I absolutely love, and that I owe almost all my love for painting to. But I don't want to be reminded that I was his student every single time I showed my work. So kind of getting rid of that influence was probably more important than just listening to what they could say about my work. And the way I eventually ended up doing that was just by eliminating all the all the process that was inherent to the way they taught. So I had to almost teach myself how to paint all over again, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun to try and start, from scratch and say, okay, now it's my turn to kind of figure things out. It's my responsibility to figure things out. And it was really cool. It was actually super, super nice to try and do that. But as far as me being critical with my own work, I think that's expected of all of us. I wouldn't say that that's weird. In my case, I'm probably never going to like anything that I do. So so that's kind of expected, and that's par for the course, I guess. So I don't know how to silence that. I don't know if I silence that. What I try to concentrate on is the fact that it is my responsibility, even after doing something that I don't like or that I deemed unsuccessful, to try and evaluate it and see why I felt it was unsuccessful, why I felt that it didn't work. And that works for me. It's not just about saying, oh, this is crap, this is terrible, I did horrible today. Like the job doesn't stop there. Like our responsibility with ourselves is also about trying to figure out why it didn't work, and trying to learn from those shortcomings, which are absolutely normal, I would say. So, yep.
Do you think you paint differently when you're talking at the same time? Are you?
Oh, for sure. Yes. I'll even anticipate that, but yeah.
Are you on autopilot while teaching, since you have painted so much, or do you still make conscious decisions about the process?
No, a little bit. I was just saying, I was just attempting to say how I didn't want not signing something to be confused with like this kind of small act of resistance. And no, I couldn't even do it. I couldn't even find the words because I was just concentrated on trying to do this nose. So yeah, I can kind of do it unconsciously, but not fully unconsciously. I mean, I have to be there painting. I have to really be present while painting if I'm hoping that something cool, comes out of it. So no, yes, it is, yes, I can try to understand it as a very simple act that I can do while talking to you guys. But no, I still have to really, really concentrate. Like really, really concentrate. Oye, ¿me haces un fa?
Sí.
Me traes, es que se me acabaron las toallitas. Sí,
Dale.
gracias.
Te hago la pregunta y ya.
Sí, gracias.
Dale. Do you see yourself as more of an expressionist painter? The painting at this stage looks pretty good. Do you often get the urge to paint in different styles?
I try to shy away from calling them styles. Probably as a whole, I would say yes. I'm probably far more expressionist than naturalist. Even though I do believe that I have this naturalist, this very evident naturalist impulse. Today, I don't know if you were listening from the beginning, but I was just saying how it's not really a matter of style, but a matter of acknowledging who I'm painting, the fact that I'm painting Malszewski, and trying to evoke some of the qualities that I really, really like in him. But, and that's why I kind of chose the colors that I chose, and I spoke about a little bit about that at the beginning. But yeah, it's not really about styles. I really see it as emphasizing different aspects of the painting based on my intent. So I think that's probably the clearest way to try and understand how intent can actually shape a painting, can actually drive a painting into very different directions, and how the formal choices that you can take while making a painting, they are answering to that intent. So it's just you just have to be open to saying, I can emphasize very many different things when painting, and that doesn't really challenge or threaten anything that can be formal about the way I learned how to paint. So I could still uphold many of the ideals that are behind naturalist painting and respecting nature, but I can paint in a very expressive manner, and I don't think those two things can't live in the same universe. In my mind, they are very much so part of the same painting process. So.
Do you ever buy from other artists?
Oh, dude, that's what we've done throughout the year. Like, part of our project, part of the essence of what we do is to try and promote, and we try to promote by example, but we try to promote the fact that we as a collective, and I'm speaking about we as a kind of like the smaller collective that is symbolized by just we the people, I guess, and not so much we the collectors, the formal art collectors. This is nothing, and by the way, this is not throwing shade at collectors. No, they are absolutely essential to what we do. But usually we kind of think that the role of purchasing a painting is solely, or the weight of all that responsibility is put squarely on the shoulders of people that have been have worked their whole life and have some money, and now it's their responsibility to say, I am going to be the patron of this group of young painters, or whatever painters they enjoy, whatever art they enjoy, and they support those people. But the truth is, just regular people like you guys and myself, we can support each other also, and that's a very, very cool thing. And it doesn't have to come at a high cost. Like, we've been buying paintings. Danny and I bought paintings throughout this year, and we could show you like dozens and dozens of paintings that we acquired. And again, the proof is in the people that we bought paintings from. Like, those people can be, say, hey, yeah, they bought stuff from me. I mean, and I hope that the people that if we couldn't buy from certain people, they're not offended by that. It's just, it's just, I don't know, the reasons are not, I don't know, have nothing to do with us not liking a lot of their work. Just recently, I bought something from Sepa, and I hadn't bought anything from Sepa all this time, but I have bought from all of the original Kenyo members. And when I bought something from Sepa, finally, I was like, I don't know what happened, dude. It took me a long time. I'm so sorry. But now I have something from all of you, and I'm very proud of that. So even if it takes time, like, that's not a sign of us not liking or not respecting somebody's work. It's just that, month by month, we concentrate on just particular people, and we say, oh, this, it's super cool if we can buy from her, or it's super cool if we can buy a couple of things from him. And we usually, I mean, I would say probably over 90% of the things that we've bought are actually from people that are, kind of like us, kind of unknown and younger. I mean, not me, but not me anymore. But they're younger because I always remember how it felt, how cool. First of all, how cool it feels when you can sell something, which is great, and how awesome it is when finally some money, when you get some money into your bank account, and how important that is at times because sometimes we're really, really kind of running on fumes. So I totally understand how very important that is, and that's why I like to buy stuff from people rather than just exchanging things. I've exchanged things in the past, but I would say that it's not even like 10 to 1 the ratio of paintings that we've bought and things that I've exchanged, like work that I've exchanged, because I always say that the easiest way to show somebody that you respect what they do is just purchase something from them. Now we do have like limits, so we can't go super overboard on the price that we on like sale prices. So probably we won't go past $500 maybe. So we end up getting stuff because we usually buy on the 200, 250 range, which is exactly what we sell for. We end up buying from people that are young and not very well known, and that's super cool with us. Like that's totally fine. So yeah, if anything, just don't follow our example just because we say so. But I always feel that it's a beautiful thing when you can tell somebody, oh my God, I've been looking at your drawings or paintings or etchings or whatever they do for the longest time, and they've been a source of inspiration, and we finally decided on just buying something, and it just feels great. It just feels really cool to finally be able to say we support you, and that's kind of awesome. So yeah, we don't have to don't believe for a second that you have to be super rich to just help an artist out, to support an artist. No, you just have to want to do it, and that's it. So
y esculturas, que creo que se te olvidó.
oh yeah, and we've also bought some sculptures. So it's always like paintings, drawings. We've bought paintings, drawings, etchings, and sculptures. So
Y fanzines.
oh yeah, and fanzines, and smaller like print projects, and books also. So we try to cover all our bases.
And Ashley Wood and Phil Hale's paintings have something of a dark narrative, which appeals to me.
Yeah.
Are there any dark paintings in you
Oh,
that are lurking?
I wish that it was that dystopic or no, not really. I tend to see like the wholesome part of things. I hope that doesn't make me like insanely boring. But yeah, I don't have that. But those two artists are, two people that I just insanely respect. Like one of the books that I kept was the Goat book, Phil Hale's book, because it had like a little drawing. It's one of the books that I've paid for most in my life. I mean, this was like 10 years ago, probably more. But I remember paying, I think it was $300 at the time, just to have like a little drawing of his in that book. So that one to me is, I'm a huge fan of Phil. I was talking about that the other day, that I've never met Ashley, and I wish I could meet him. I really do think he's one of the best draftsperson of our time, I feel. But I've never been able to meet him, and I would love to. I have a friend that is an insane fan, Willie Chahin. Yeah, he is crazy fan. And another friend of mine has been able to buy for him to get one of his like smaller drawings that are like a little less expensive. But I would love to meet Ashley. Yeah, he's crazy. I'm not, dude. Honestly, I'm not. Like, I love all those things, but yeah, I don't have like sexy chicks on top of like semi-nude sexy chicks on top of a robot, or just like a dude just whacking a robot with like a cyberpunk bat made out of I don't know, sewing machine parts like like Phil does with Johnny Badhair. What's his name?
¿Quién?
Es un personaje de las pinturas de Phil Hale.
No sé si salga.
Johnny Badhair? Am I wrong? No, that's
Sí,
the
Johnny Badhair.
yeah, that's the dude's name.
Hannah pregunta, would you recommend art school for a young self-taught artist?
If you can afford it, maybe, but art school is so just insanely expensive that it's very hard to rationally recommend to anyone. To be super honest, Hannah, but if you can, if I have to be completely sincere, Hannah, it did change my life. Like, there's no question about it. If I hadn't, had a scholarship to go to my art school, I wouldn't be the person that I am. So, point blank, that's the truth. But I was also very aware that if I didn't have a scholarship, I would have had no way of being able to pay for school, like none whatsoever. Like, if there was no financial aid help, there was no way I could have gotten that education. And it just pisses me off to think that, if I could have paid for it, then I was lucky enough I would have been lucky enough to have, the amazing people that I did have as my teachers. But if I didn't, then it's like, oh, no, dude, you can't do anything. Like, you're not going to be able to receive like the guidance and to learn from the experience of these awesome painters. So that, that pisses me off every time I know about tuition prices, and I know how financial aid has diminished, through the years. I was very lucky in my time. I think they gave me scholarship, and they would give me grants every semester. Starting my third semester, I think, they started giving me grants. So I would get, at that time, and this is a long time ago, but I would get like $3,000 each semester, which, it was a lot of money. I mean, it still is. It still is a lot of money. But I remember, I think I messed up the nose. Now I'm speaking like with you guys, and I'm like, oh, what did I do to the nose? Come on, dude. But anyways, sorry about the rage there. So I don't know. If it's an art school that you can afford, and you maybe have had the opportunity to speak to some people that have graduated from there, and you kind of know what the program looks like, and you can afford it. More importantly, great. More power to you. That's awesome. I mean, still, it's very disproportionate, like the cost of education. But if you can do it, then great. I'm very happy for you. But if you can't, don't feel bad. Like, there's so many options nowadays to educate yourself through, workshops that you can go to. I know that, with pandemic, like, it's harder now. It's been harder for me. I had probably 4, 5, now that I think, workshops this year that I had to cancel. So I'm super aware of the sacrifices that had to be made in that sense. But you can take advantage of those workshops. You don't really have to go to school. And if you already know what you like, I mean, and this is the big if, because the cool thing about school is that you're going there when you're younger, or you can go there, at any point in your life. I don't want to be dismissive of older people that are going to school, but I mean, there is no perfect moment to educate yourself. There is only like the willingness to educate yourself, and that's awesome. But usually, when you're younger is the moment where you attend school, and you haven't figured a lot of shit out. Sorry, and that being there in that space just helps you tremendously to try and figure things out. So that you would be missing when you sacrifice not going to school. But it's not bad. It doesn't mean that the world ends. Like, you can do that yourself. Like, you can actually push yourself to try and do that for yourself. It's going to be harder, but it can be done. You can, again, there are things that you can do. So if you save up for a workshop, that's taught, by a teacher, by a painter that you really, really like, if what you're interested is painting, for example, oh my God, like those experiences could be like life altering. Like they can really change the way you look at anything, from then on. So they are that important. They can be that important. So yeah, don't feel bad if you can't, but try to give yourself spaces where you can have the chance to learn from the experience of these awesome people. And I think there's tons of great workshops all over. I don't know where you are, Hannah, but all over the world, I would say there's tons of great workshops going on. So I'm sure that in your area, or maybe if you travel a little bit, you can find somebody who is worth that little bit of effort.
Aviola dice que también hay ateliers.
Oh yeah. Sí. Yeah, en español o en inglés, decía. Oh yeah, and obviously there are ateliers that you can go to that, and you don't have to do, some of them, they do promote you doing, their whole program, but a lot of them, they're open, so you can actually go there for a year if you want to, or you can go there for just a semester, you can go there for a couple of months, and it's still very, very good education. Again, it's based on what you want to get out of it, honestly. And that's the toughest part. That's what I meant by saying, like, if you kind of already know what you want out of your education, then you have a lot of like stuff gained by having that knowledge. If you don't despair. Like, give yourself time. Don't worry. It's normal. It's absolutely normal to have uncertainty as an artist, as a young person. So don't worry about it. I'm assuming you're young, and forgive me if I'm.
No, pero sí, porque ella preguntó que para young artists.
Sí, okay.
Tim dice, I was excited to add 2 of your pieces into my collection from your November show at Everett.
Oh, dude, thank you. Thank you so much.
Surrounding myself with work from artists I admire is the best inspiration I can have.
That's awesome, Tim. Thank you so much. And the message is very, very true. And today, in a very joking way, this very generous person that has been supporting us also told me, I saw that he had bought a painting from somebody else who I really, really like. And I'm trying not to be specific because I don't know if they would want me to be specific about these things. But I said, like, on Instagram, I was like, oh, congrats, that dude is a genius. Like, that's so awesome that you have their work. And he was like, yeah, I have to balance stuff out. And this is a super nice dude, so, just know that. But he was like, yeah, I have to balance stuff out because there's like, the ratio of Uribes, like, of my paintings to the other people's paintings is, like, too low or too high, maybe. And I was like, dude, no. You have to start buying from other people, like, right now. Like, don't stop buying from us and just buy from other people. Like, that's super, super important also. And I said it very lovingly and very, honestly, and knowing that he has helped us a ton. So, but it's also very, very important for the people that are in a moment of their lives where they can actually help out, a bunch of artists, to say, cool, I've bought some of these paintings from, you know, her. Now I want to support somebody else, and we can't be pissed about that. We can't expect, you know, one person to finance like our whole lives. That's kind of crazy. So I told them, like, oh, dude, go crazy, like buy from, you know, tens and dozens of other painters. That's amazing. You don't have to buy from us again. Like we have gotten way too much, you know, from you now with everything that you've given us. So we're totally fine if you devote your energy and your interest like elsewhere. Like, and honestly, I say this like very lovingly, because I think it is our responsibility to say, even though we may love, you know, somebody's work, to say I should be trying to expand, you know, the range of the things that I buy. Yeah, if it was just for our liking, you know, if it was just, then I would buy only, you know, Ruprecht von Kaufmann, you know, paintings. Although I don't think I could save enough. I don't think with how well we did this year that I could have bought a single painting of his. But you know, but I would just buy constantly from him. If it was just about buying from people that we enjoy, oh yeah, I wouldn't look elsewhere, because that to me is like, that's it. This is it. Like, this is the painter for me. This is like the one painter. Like, if you have to take a painter to a deserted island, no, that's sounding kind of weird. But I think you get my gist. Like, it's not like I'm you know, sequestering him to this island with me. That's sounding a little strange. But, you know, if I would have to take only one person's work with me, oh yeah, it's him. You know, it's not even close. So sometimes you kind of have to push yourself to say, okay, let's look for other things, and let's try to, you know, help other people or support other people. And I don't feel weird about saying help or support. Even like for us, every time somebody, you know, buys something from us, I'm like, thank you so much. You know, I really feel grateful. Like, I feel like they are literally helping us. Yeah, I don't feel like, oh yeah, dude, you're doing a job, like they're just paying for the job you did. No, I actually feel like, no, they're helping, you know. So I'm always kind of prompted to say thank you.
Kim pregunta, how do you cope with chronic pain, as an artist? I'm rediscovering art in my midlife, but now I have carpal in my dominant hand, and I find it difficult to focus my eyes.
Oh, Kim, you're speaking to the choir, because right now, I could tell you right now, I'm in pain, if I'm being super honest. And, you know, I just pushed my hand a little too much, unfortunately, this year. And even though I was feeling a little bit better because I gave myself some rest last week, that's the real reason. If I have to be honest with you guys, like, this is a super cool exercise doing these lives, but because of the way we work, I was just hoping that if I gave myself like this week where I didn't have to paint and then do editing, my hand would be a little bit better, and it did get better. I was super happy. But as soon as I started painting this week, I was like, oh God, it's back. Like, and the reason I'm in pain is because I have to do a lot of like tiny little movements because I'm painting small paintings now. And I don't know, like it's been very frustrating because I know I can't stop. I can't stop because I'm, you know, this is my life. Like, this is what I do. So it's not easy to just say stop. I had epicondylitis in my right elbow also a couple of years ago. You know, same thing because of painting, and I thought I had, you know, gotten over that, and I thought that we were good. You know, me and my right arm were good, but blah. Seems like it's gonna be strict, you know, difficult. So I have to find a way. I know it's not as simple as just saying, oh, just do some stretching. It's not. Like, I quietly have tried that, and you know, it kind of eases the pain, and it does stretch the all the little tendons that I know I'm overusing. But, you know, once I paint again for a couple of hours, they're back. Like the pain is immediately back. So, yeah, I don't know.
Te dieron dos tips. Emily dice, have you tried CBD salve? No sé cómo se dice.
No, I haven't.
It helps my husband. Y Robert dice, check out Dr. John Sarno about chronic pain.
Okay, thank you. I'll look into those.
Who is the reference of? Ya habías dicho, pero
Yeah,
no tanto.
he's Jacek Malszewski. So he's a 19th century Polish painter. He's one of my favorite painters. So it's just actually kind of fun to paint him.
¿Cómo se construye la intención de manera conceptual independientemente de su traducción en las decisiones formales que se toman? ¿O cómo se llama eso que nos pide la pintura que se puede resolver a través de lo formal?
Wow, estoy escribiendo un proyecto de tesis y necesito que me ayude con esas preguntas. No, mentira, estoy molestando, pero...
Se llama Carly, creo que lo estoy pronunciando bien, si no, disculpe. Carly Gómez.
No, gracias Carly. Sí, digamos que no necesariamente uno se tiene que apoyar sobre una ejecución formal para denotar intención. Para mí ese proceso de entender intención es como otra manera de decir qué es lo que quiere, o sea, cuando uno le preguntan qué es lo que quiere decir con esto, o cuánto se conoce a usted mismo, o qué sabe de usted mismo, qué entiende de su sensibilidad. Todas esas son las mismas preguntas, pero expresadas de una forma como distinta, ligeramente distinta. Es tan difícil. Yo pienso que lo que me ha servido en mi camino, y esto es una cosa súper subjetiva entonces, porque no creo que tampoco se pueda convertir en una norma, porque no creo que haya recetas para eso, pero es como aceptar sin cuestionamientos. Es decir, cuando yo me veo conmovido por algo, en vez de empezar a hacer un cuestionamiento y tratar de como someterlo a una especie de reflexión y de raciocinio, y que uno trate de investigar de dónde viene como ese impulso por estar afectado por lo que sea, aquello que lo está afectando a uno, yo lo que digo es, lo acepto, o sea, lo acepto y me pongo a trabajar y miro a ver hacia dónde me lleva ese impulso, como qué me va a aportar el haber aceptado casi que ciegamente ese impulso. Y entonces, en vez de todo el tiempo estar tratando como de decir, lo tengo que justificar, y tengo que además racionalmente entender el por qué, o sea, tengo que saber hacia dónde me dirijo y tengo que saber por qué me dirigí hacia allá. Yo trato de primero simplemente decir, no, pues lo acepto y miremos hacia dónde me lleva. De pronto no lo entiendo, de pronto el sacrificio, digamos, en ese sentido que tengo que hacer es no entender esa razón, no entender de dónde proviene esa razón, pero pues a mí no me disgusta eso, por eso le digo que de pronto esto es como en mi proceso, o sea, seguramente en su proceso existe como una dinámica de reflexión distinta, pero en mi proceso me ha ayudado a enseñarme a responder, ¿sí? O sea, comenzar por responder sin cuestionar. Y después, pues, obviamente viene un proceso de reflexión de saber por qué, o sea, de tratar de explicarse a uno mismo por qué, pero yo tampoco además tengo afán en ese sentido. Yo creo que es que muchas veces desde el punto de vista académico hay como un afán inherente a tratar de responder esa pregunta, como que se tiene que hacer, como si uno estuviera siendo evaluado constantemente por un ente evaluador, y yo no creo en eso. A mí no me importa eso, porque a mí no me importa tener incertidumbre, entonces trato de que este tipo de cosas como que no me afecten. Yo no asocio el no saber con digamos, con un proceso creativo ignorante. O sea, yo pienso que esa parte es más natural de lo que le hacemos como ver. Dime.
No, que perdone el sonido.
No.
Em, Aldier Green te pregunta. I was watching earlier David Lynch talking about the importance of having a good setting to practice creative work. Do you think that you would paint with the same passion if you had a very hard life in terms of finances, health, relationship, or whatever?
I'd like to believe so because, my life has never been constant. Me and my family's life has never been a constant. So even though I would say that I've been if I put everything on a scale, I think that I've been on the lucky side. I know that I've also, painted through hardship, and I know that I've always maintained kind of this love and this connection with painting, understanding it as a companion. For me, it literally is that. So I'd be lying if I tell you, and I'm not, even though we probably don't know each other, but I'm not gonna lie to you. It wouldn't make sense. But even though, like I said, if I put everything on a balance, I know that I've just been lucky in life. I'd like to believe that I'm ready for the moment because it'll come. I think that it's very rare that we lead lives that are unaffected, and that just, we can live a whole life where we go through no hardships. I mean, there's only very, very lucky few people that can do that and that can speak about that. But I think for the rest of us that are just very, regular, hardworking people, there'll come a time, or we'll be, we'll encounter many, many moments in our life where, life is going to be unfair and it's going to be tougher. This year, I'm sure, has been insanely unfair and very, very tough for, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So I'd like to believe that I'm ready for it. I'd like to believe that I'm not beholden to anything that I have, not the place where I live. We don't own this apartment. We actually, kind of moved a couple of months ago, but we lived in a smaller apartment, and if we had to go to something very small, smaller even than the one that we were at, that would be fine. And I would feel like that's completely fine. Like I don't care about any of those things. I would teach myself how to appreciate, whatever space we would be in. And I'd like to believe that I'm older and I'm at a place where my head is right, where I know that I'm not just saying those things. Obviously, I hope that life, doesn't want to challenge me that way. But if it does, if it comes to me having to make those sacrifices, like, I'm ready for it. I can totally tell you that I'm absolutely ready for it. And I want to believe that painting will be there for me also. How is it going to be affected? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't know if I can anticipate that. I think it's very, very difficult to try and anticipate that. But I think I know myself well enough to know that I'll be fine. Like, not I'll be fine in terms of money, not I'll be fine because I have, money saved. No, I have neither of those. But I'll be fine in terms of, I know myself, like I can fight through that. Like I know that I can work through those things. I'll find a way. So
Aldir te responde, well then, that passion and commitment to painting, I think that's your true gift. Have you heard about Kim Jong-ji?
Yeah, of course. He's a robot. I don't know if you've heard that he is not human. You can believe like two things, that he is, that sounded weird. I was just tearing a piece of, tearing one of these, but I'm totally aware that totally sounded like a fart. So, that was this. I'm tearing a paper towel, okay? So, but I'm positive that was such a fart sound, so sorry about that. Anyways, it would have been a great moment to hide like a fart, for sure. But in this case, it was just natural. It was just paper towels. And maybe that helps, somebody that, that little experience we just had, maybe that's like, oh, now I know how to hide mine. So, yeah, that's also free knowledge right here. Kim Junji, no, that dude is, he's crazy. Like, that's not normal. Like, the ability that he has is different from everyone else's. Because there's a lot of people that go like, oh no, there's a ton of artists that can do that. Some people are like somewhat racist and say, oh, there's a ton of like Oriental Asian artists that can do that, which is not really the case. Come on, no, he is different. He's very, very, very different. And the stuff he does, it's almost like hard to rationalize and hard to comprehend. And I just beg that I never ever normalize it, because it is so extraordinary and it is so peculiar, just the ability that he has, that I'm just in awe of it. I just celebrate it constantly because, he is that different. He's a gift. I don't think there's many artists, throughout history that are able or will be able to do what he does, And also with the amount of... just the amount of drawings he produces is just insane, I mean, the guy works his butt off. He puts everyone to shame, but still, regardless, his production is just crazy. He deserves everything, like, everything he has, everything he's worked for, everything, like, that dude is just, he's insane. And I think he's tireless. He, people say he's super, super kind, when he goes to conventions, and, well, not anymore now, but when he's gone to like conventions or when they hire him and he has to do something that's somewhat academic, like, the dude is crazy, crazy generous. So, yeah, I don't know. He's insane. I don't know how to understand it, but I think the point is that there's some people in this world that you just don't, you don't have to try and rationalize it. They just are that extraordinary. So, yeah, I got depressed a little bit just speaking about him. So,
Thomas Warton estaba diciendo que en inglés que estaba interesado en la pintura, que cómo hace para ponerse en línea o para...
Oh, hey Tom.
Pero entonces yo le dije que iba a estar en media hora, pero de pronto que expliques un poquito que no hay como línea de espera.
Oh, right. Yeah, for the people that are genuinely curious about how we sell paintings, we never, we never receive like prepayments or anything. Or there's a lot of very generous people that say, oh, can I pre-order one, or can I just put money down and then I can just pick from the paintings that you guys do? And the thing is, we've been really blessed to not need anything like that. We're not really like a gallery. We're just, two people, and we just post paintings and hopefully they sell. And we've been very lucky that they indeed have sold. So we never ever like receive like, so nobody receives like special treatment in that sense. But what you can do is when you like a painting, and for example the paintings that we're doing this week, you just probably half an hour after we're done with the live session, we post it. We posted it in our webpage, in our paintedlives.com, and that's about it. We don't do anything else. There's nothing weird about anything else that we do. And trust me, it seems like the paintings really sell like super quickly, but as my mother would tell you, sometimes they spend enough time in our storefront that my mother is like, oh, you didn't do well today. Well, don't worry, tomorrow's a new day, and maybe you can do a little bit better. And so no, we don't literally just sell everything in like 2 seconds. But if you like something, yeah, usually paintings that people really like, but I don't know how to interpret that though. To me, they're all kind of nice paintings, and I really enjoy like every single painting that I paint. But you know, we are lucky that some paintings they do sell very, very quickly, and some others actually take a little bit. And I don't interpret that as, you know, oh, the good ones sell quickly and the crappy ones they sell very slowly. No, that has nothing to do with it. Like even, you know, I've actually had this conversation with Danny where I tell her, oh, I think this one's like, you know, this one gave me so much trouble that this one probably is not going to sell, you know, very easily. And then there are other paintings that I go like, oh, this probably sells super quickly. And what ends up happening is the complete opposite. Like the painting that I thought was going to be very, very hard to sell just sells super quickly. And the one that I, you know, dare I say that I liked, you know, just stays there in the store, like not wanting to be bought by anyone. And I'm like, what the hell, you know? But that goes to show you that we never know. Like we as artists think that we understand like an art market. Oh, we never understand it. You know, this thing, you can't anticipate anything in the art world. It behaves, you know, it's as varied and as, you know, wonderful and specific as there are human beings on earth. So maybe the painting that I think is going to be super tough to sell is a painting that somebody finds my best painting ever and they say, this is the most beautiful thing that you've done this year. This is, you know, my favorite this year of yours. You know, and that's it. And that's what happens. But I have stopped trying to understand or to try to anticipate when a painting is going to sell, because honestly, I have no idea. I have no clue.
Vincent Delanoy says.
Vincent!
He says, tip, set an alert on Instagram. What do you think about Nick Alm?
He's amazing.
Pregunta Wilson Guevara.
¿Qué hubo, Wilson? Yeah, Nick Alm is so insanely talented. I mean, and he is now, you know what work, I mean, he's an insane oil painter, but his watercolors, he's really, I think he said that for himself, but he is really picking up that torch. He's also Swedish, but he is picking up that torch from Anders Zorn, trying to do those insane watercolors. But yeah, but he is, you know, just talented beyond belief. I think he's a very different painter also than, you know, many of us. He's very good, very, very good. It's crazy how good he is. But yeah, his watercolors just make me cry sometimes. He has that same effect that Zorn has on me when I say that's a watercolor. Like that's not right. He is way beyond our price range, unfortunately. So, so I don't think I'm gonna be ever able to purchase anything of his. So, and he is very, very sought after. So, I don't think I can just call him up. I've exchanged some, you know, social media messages. I've never met him, but he's super kind. I've exchanged some messages with him. And he was super, super nice. But yeah, he's above me. He's above my pay grade. So, but he's crazy talented, you know.
Hola, una pregunta. ¿Aún sigue pensando que el arte no sirve para nada?
El arte siento que es ineficiente. Siento que es absolutamente ineficiente, sí. Y siento que debería ser ineficiente. Siento que no se debería trazar como unas metas así súper como extrañas que muchas veces se traza. En ese sentido es que siento como que pues esto no es que sirva, o sea, no es que sirva como muchas veces se trata de insinuar que sirve. O sea, hay mucha gente que dice, no, es que el arte es fundamental, por ejemplo, para la protesta. Entonces el arte tiene que ser parte de la protesta. No, la protesta va a funcionar sin arte, o sea, eso no pasa nada, no tenemos que tener un afiche para protestar, o sea, nosotros ya pasamos de, o sea, ya no hay una necesidad así como constructivista para tener como un afiche que pueda unificar a toda la gente, como un contenido que pueda unificar a la gente. No, entonces en ese sentido tampoco siento o sea, por ejemplo, impacto social, el arte. El arte puede ser parte de un proyecto que tenga un impacto social, pero pues más impacto que lo que puede tener un gobierno no corrupto, pues no puede tener nunca, no puede tener nunca. Eh, entonces, lo mismo, o sea, de ayudar a que haya una equidad social o ayudar a grupos, a minorías que no cuentan con recursos a través de programas de arte, a través de programas de música, pues súper bonito, pero eso no calma el hambre y eso no calma la discrepancia tan grande que hay entre personas que tienen dinero y que no tienen, por ejemplo, en Latinoamérica, que es enorme. Esa brecha entre los que tenemos y los que no tienen es una cosa abismal. Entonces el arte tampoco cura eso. Entonces yo creo que esas grandes, como esos grandes, esas grandes enfermedades que todavía agobian como a la humanidad, pues no se curan con arte, honestamente no. Tanto que, mire ahorita en la pandemia, cuando le preguntaron a la gente, no solo preguntaron a la gente, sino todos los programas que se hicieron de ayuda gubernamental, los artistas no somos, como dicen, ¿cómo es que les dicen, Dani? Los trabajadores fundamentales,
¿Esenciales?
trabajadores esenciales. No somos, o sea, se llegó a esa conclusión súper rápido. Entonces, creo que son, o sea, duele un poco aceptarlo, pero es la verdad. O sea, la sociedad puede y tiene que seguir sin nosotros cuando algo tan importante la afecta, como lo que está pasando todavía este año y lo que va a seguir pasando el próximo año. O sea, el COVID no lo cura una buena pintura. Nos hace sentir mejor de pronto, nos hace sentir acompañados y nos da otro tipo como de ayuda. Eso sí es cierto, pero pues es como tapar el sol con el dedo, yo siento hay veces. Entonces no, yo muchas veces soy crítico de eso, como pensando que es que hay veces hay iniciativas que juran que el arte todo lo puede o que el arte tiene que ser parte de unos problemas que son infinitamente más complejos que el mismo arte y ahí es donde pienso, oiga, no le otorgue al arte algo que no tiene por qué tener, una responsabilidad que tampoco tiene por qué tener. O sea, el arte nunca ha terminado guerras, el arte nunca ha calmado el hambre, el arte nunca ha encontrado como equidad, nunca, esa es la realidad. O sea, entonces yo no sé en qué momento se empezó a creer que el arte sí podía hacer esas cosas. No, puede hacer cosas súper bonitas, súper bonitas. Y por ejemplo es re lindo que comunidades que son olvidadas siguen teniendo como, siguen siendo fieles a procesos artesanales, todo ese tipo de cosas son súper lindas. Pero pues de eso, o sea, mantener esa tradición viva es chévere, es una cuestión como de respeto con la misma tradición, pero pues si no hay acueducto, el arte no trae acueducto. O sea, y yo creo que el arte puede ser un ente visibilizador, eso también es chévere, pero también, o sea, la responsabilidad de un gobierno, de nuevo, no corrupto, no debería necesitar del arte para visibilizar problemas. Debería ser una cosa que se hace naturalmente. En ese sentido es que lo digo, ojalá no suene como solo tan sencillo como decir, no, es que esto no sirve para nada y chao, hasta luego.
Pablo Díaz dice,
Uy, pibe, grande.
gol de Firmino.
¿Gol de Firmino?
Sí,
Grande Bobby. Grande Bobby. Es increíble. Y Firmino creo que ha hecho solo un gol esta temporada. Gigante. Bueno, ya me puse, ya ahora sí voy a pintar, ahora sí.
Bueno,
I thought about doing the pattern, but I really like the dark mass of the head, and I really like the head. I don't think I'm going to touch it anymore. But I really like the dark mass against the light here. I think that if I give pattern to this, I'm trying to find, very honest ways of avoiding it. So I don't want to paint it, but it's also because I'm trying to not need to paint it in a way. But I think it would be too busy, and if it's busy, then it competes with the yellow and it competes with the head. So I think I kind of strike a really nice balance right now. I was able to strike.
Hey Nicolas, I'm a young art student and I recently started oil painting. I really struggle with the use of colors or the use of strokes. Do you recommend me to reproduce paintings or anything else?
¿Cómo se llama?
Dice cáncer fetus.
Yeah, you can study paintings. It's not just about reproducing a painting or copying a painting and attempting to get super close to what the original artist, got to, because honestly, that's very, very difficult. You know, sometimes it's absolutely impossible to reach, the level of painting that some of these genius painters have acquired. So we have to have very kind of grounded expectations when we copy something, so that we don't really measure the value of studying a painting based on how close it is, how close we were able to get to the original work of art. It's probably not going to happen, but you can study it in the sense of saying, why does this work? Like, why do the choices that this particular artist took, why did it work for them? Why did she paint this in this way? Like, what did she gain by painting this in this way? And I think that through those questions, you're able to connect a technique, a manner of working with what they were trying to say, which is absolutely essential. It's not just about, painting nice brushstrokes. A nice brushstroke, I don't know, what it is. It's probably a brushstroke that is able to convey, the information that you want it to say, but it doesn't, there's not one definition for what makes a beautiful stroke. Practice and just, paint, because there's no other way to learn how to paint than by painting. And painting is very, very tough. It has a very steep learning curve, and it's very frustrating. And because it is very steep, a lot of people just fall out of, painting. They get frustrated and they don't see results very quickly, and they just go like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. This is not giving me what I wanted, what I was hoping to get out of, and they just kind of forfeit. And I don't want to, forfeit is a little too harsh, because it's not about, us winners that we kept, we kept with it. No. But I can totally understand how there is this, willingness to say, oh, F this, I don't want to do this anymore, because it is very, very frustrating. But just stick with it. And maybe sticking with it means, it means that there's a long road ahead. Things won't happen quickly. And you have to know that, and you have to be ready for that. But when you're ready, and if you're ready, dude, the most amazing kind of journey lies in front of you, where you can have this thing just be part of your life, forever. I think that's the coolest and most beautiful thing about painting, that this is not a thing that just lasts a little moment. If you do it regularly, this is something that can just be with you for the rest of your life. So I think that's amazing. I think that giving ourselves the chance to have something as amazing as that is just priceless. But because it is so amazing to have this company throughout your life, like it's asking a lot from you. So it actually, takes a lot of effort to also do. So if you're willing to do that, that's awesome.
Hannah dice, would you ever do a watercolor week?
Oh, Hannah, I want to. I have a very I'm not going to say professional, very discreet watercolor set, and I'm gonna try it. I promise you, I'm totally willing to do it next year, but expect very terrible results. Expect have your expectations set very, very low, because I'm just not good at it. I honestly I'm not good at it. I think I am far better at understanding painting as an additive medium, and not so much as a subtractive medium. So I'm gonna try. Next year I swear I'm gonna try. That's a nice stroke. I'm gonna leave it. That's really cool. I'm gonna try, but I also know that I don't know if I'm gonna do very well. I can predict that future. I can tell you that. And the reason that I can predict it is because I have tried to do watercolors, in my own time, and they are terrible. They are really terrible. So I don't expect anything to change just because we are doing this project. If anything, I'm going to be far more self-conscious about them, and they're going to suck. So yeah. So I know that that's going to happen. Danny had to leave for just a second, so if you're asking questions right now, just save those for just a little later until she gets back, because I think our intercom rang, and she's probably picking up whatever, and she's back.
Han hecho muchas preguntas en inglés sobre la conspiración de Giuseppe Celli.
Oh, he's a genius. Giuseppe Celli.
Eso, Celli.
Giuseppe Celli. Grandissimo, grandissimo. He's a genius. He's an absolute genius. I mean, I think there's no question now that he's obviously not a painter, and he's probably, not an artist even. I think that this is just a crazy, incredible exercise, and it involves everything that we hold, that we think we hold dear nowadays, which is this truth that because something is in social media, then it's probably real. Because, if somebody has enough followers, I mean, they're bound to be real, right? If somebody has enough likes, they're bound to be real. If somebody photoshops a name, on top of a book that doesn't exist, then, but if we see the cover, the pseudo cover, then it's bound to be real. But it's great because he's not trying to sell anything. He doesn't have a store where he sells things, because he knows that all this, all the stuff that he's doing is just virtual. It doesn't exist. It has, there's no realm in which this exists outside social media. So absolute genius. At first I was like, oh my God, this fucking guy, he's tricking everyone. And then it was like, no, then you come around. And then you go no, this is amazing. This is actually incredible. He's laughing at us. He's tricking us into believing that all these efforts are real. But, who cares? That's incredible. I love him now. I thought my job was to responsibly unfollow him and say, I'm not going to pay attention to anything that you do anymore. And now, hell no. I'm there, I'm following, I am a cellist. I am Yo-Yo Ma. I want Yo-Yo more. Oh my God, that was terrible.
Una en español. En el momento que dices que sea ineficiente, cuando eras un pintor más joven, ¿pensabas lo mismo?
No.
¿Qué le recomendarías a uno que apenas comienza, pero sabiendo que es difícil?
No, seguramente tenía toda la intención de que el arte cambiara como el mundo, de creer como, pintar es como una cosa, casi que se autojustifica. Pintar es un acto de esos, como durante tantos años pintar fue como la reina de las artes. O sea, pintar es una cosa que se ha adorado durante tanto tiempo, y todavía si uno va a un museo, lo que más hay son pinturas. Si uno va si uno mira el arte que más se comercializa en el mundo es pintura, o sea, todavía hay como em, unas ondas que siguen existiendo a partir de lo que ha sido como ese impacto que tiene y que tuvo la pintura, pues ya no tiene tanto, yo soy de los que pienso que ya no tiene tanto, pero que tuvo la pintura durante tantos siglos. Pero sí, yo creía que pintar era una cosa como chévere, como distinta, como grande, como divina, como, no sé, distinta. Que era como hecha por seres distintos o seres súper sensibles y era como nuestra función súper bonita de mostrarle a la humanidad, como de nuevo, de visibilizar cosas que de pronto la gente por cualquier razón como que se ha negado a observar o a mirar o perdió como el norte y el sentido grande de las cosas y uno como artista tiene que recordarle a la gente eso y nada, y ya no creo, pues la verdad no creo en nada de eso. Creo que puede tener un impacto súper bonito, súper bonito. Pero es que yo siempre sostengo esto, voy a tratar de ser voy a tratar de decir esto como de una manera muy sintética, pues, pero yo siento que el arte siempre ha profesado ser popular y yo pienso que esa es como de las mentiras más grandes que hay en la humanidad, o sea, el arte es un círculo súper cerrado. Muchísimas veces uno termina pintando, o sea, si es por ejemplo pintando, uno termina pintando para otros artistas. O sea, si el arte fuera una cosa popular que tiene que ver como con el tipo de arte que nosotros los que creemos que estamos haciendo arte chévere hacemos, pues miren en YouTube cuáles son los videos más populares de arte. Son como un arco iris de colores y una persona que termina haciendo un cielo estrellado y un camello. No sé, no sé, son cosas como que no, o sea, nunca concuerdan. La popularidad en el arte nunca concuerda con lo que supuestamente es respetado. Estoy poniendo mucho detalle ahí. I'm putting way too much detail. I want to suggest this painting behind, but I'm putting way too much detail. Entonces, lo que yo siempre creo es que hay una desconexión absoluta entre ese sentido, entre eso que se cree acerca del arte y la realidad del arte. Que es que la realidad del arte es que a las exposiciones no es que vaya gente no es que la gente vaya caminando en la calle y ve una exposición y dice, "Ah, voy a entrar". Eso no pasa. Incluso las galerías no son espacios que están hechos como para promover la entrada de gente de la calle. Incluso muchísimas veces eso hasta o sea, son puertas que no invitan a nadie. O sea, eso va en contra de lo que quiere una galería al sentirse como exclusiva. Entonces, esa idea de arte exclusivo pues es excluyente y esa noción de arte excluyente está por todos digamos los estratos del arte. Vayan a un museo y acérquense a una pintura mucho a ver qué pasa, o sea, suena una alarma como si se estuvieran robando un carro, o sea, entonces eso no va, eso en mi cabeza nunca ha sido como coherente con la idea de un arte que es socializable y que trata es de juntar gente. No, el arte está hecho para otros artistas y para coleccionistas, esa es la pura verdad. Y esas son las personas que normalmente tienen conversaciones de arte, pero casi nunca está hecho para personas normales que no saben, que no tienen idea qué está pasando, pero que de pronto hay veces quisieran ser parte de la conversación, pero que no hay ninguna dinámica en el arte que invite, o sea, bueno, no digo ninguna, pero tradicionalmente no hay ninguna dinámica en lo que es, por ejemplo, o la pintura, que realmente invite al observador a que haga parte de ella. No, uno se tiene que cruzar de manos cuando ve una pintura y poner las manos atrás y mantenerse callado. O sea, a uno le exigen resto de dinámicas distintas al funcionamiento normal del ser humano normal. Entonces eso siempre me ha molestado a mí, siempre he creído que eso es como una parte súper fea, triste y en particular de la pintura. Entonces también una parte de lo que tratamos de hacer pues con este ejercicio es socializar la pintura de otra manera y volverla súper como, no sé, trivial de pronto, si se puede entender así. O sea, no es restarle nada de lo bonito ni lo chévere que ha tenido la pintura, pero pues volverla una cosa que es normal, no es una cosa para genios, no es una cosa hecha por genios para genios, no, es una cosa que se puede conversar, así como estamos haciendo ahora, podemos conversar acerca de pintura mientras pintamos, y ya, súper chévere, súper bonito, al menos es como un primer paso.
Acá dicen, I would be super interested to see in a video all the great paintings and drawings you own from other artists.
Oh, we can totally do that. We can totally do that. As a way of sharing, you know. We don't need to prove anything. Like I said, there's way too many artists out there that know everything that we've purchased from them. But as a way of sharing, we would be very happy to share that with people.
Camila Ogerman dice...
Hola Camila.
Sí, hola Camila.
Siempre agradecidos. Por ejemplo, Camila me ayudó a conseguir una escultura de un escultor que es fantástico, pero absolutamente fantástico, para Dani, que yo le quería regalar a Dani. Y si no hubiera sido por Camila, nunca hubiéramos podido comprarle a Fernando Rosas, es el escultor, porque Fernando es un desastre, y segundo, creo, y Camila pues me puede corregir, pero pues sacar obra de Argentina tampoco es tan fácil. Entonces Camila fue muy linda y nos ayudó muchísimo en eso. Entonces siempre agradecidos con ella.
Sí, y ella preguntó, pero en inglés dijo...
Yes, Camila Ogerman.
Dice, but he steals images from other artists. Giuseppe Selli.
See, yeah, but Richard Prince does the same thing, and he was found not guilty in court of appropriation. And I am of the mindset that I would much rather give artists liberty than take it away. So I'm much happier if an artist actually knows that they can, work from anything that they want, anything. You can steal from anyone and everything. You could actually, buy this painting and paint over this painting if you wanted to. That's totally fine. I would be super fine with that. I have to be fine with those things, because I much rather believe in those things, believe in the things that grant you liberty, and not in the things that take it away. And I think that when we start saying, oh, you shouldn't be able to do that, in art, then we start opening like a Pandora's box of what are the things that you're not supposed to be able to do, and who decides what things are you not able to do, and which things are you able to do. And I think that's such a murky place to be in, that it's far better to just say, you know what, let's just agree that we could do anything, and then that's it. It falls like the weight, as it should be, falls like squarely, the responsibility falls squarely on the shoulders of the artist and how they do things. And you can it's easier to say, wow, you copied that person, and this work of art is crap, and this is a shit work of art. It's so easy to have that conversation rather than to say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Why not? Let them do that. But let's judge the result. It's far easier to judge that result than to just say you shouldn't have done that. To impose all these norms on art that end up just they feel like handcuffs. So I think that you shouldn't ever be able to do that with a creative process. You should never ever hinder a creative process. And if that means that some people have to be sad because their work was used in weird ways, then so be it. Who knows? Many of the things that we see in museums, who knows if the culture that they belong to would be pissed, by us experiencing them in that way. All these things that, we have stolen from other cultures, all these museums all over the world that have, pieces of history that don't belong to them. Who knows if they had a say on that? Who knows if they would have been mad and pissed? So I don't know. I don't think it's a simple conversation. It's not, to me it's not. And because it's highly complex, then the easiest way to say it is, you know what, let's all just agree then that we could do anything we want.
What do you think about Lars Lerin?
He's very good. You know that he wrote, because he wrote to me, he was one of those painters that I would many times show in my painting class at the university. And I always saw him as like this super cool contemporary painter. I love, it's like post-Richter and just the very fluid images. I used to love that stuff. There was a moment, in my career where I really, really liked that sort of out of focus sense of reality. And he was, very much so a reference for me. But so it was so strange that he wrote to me to my Instagram. I still have that. I think I still have that little bit of conversation that I had with him, and I'm super proud of it because I'm like, oh my God, this dude is a reference for me. Like, we're not really on equal grounds, and he's talking to me as if we are. So that felt really, really cool. I'm actually going to stop because I really like where the painting is at. It speaks a lot about me, the fact that I started with high chroma. I have high chroma available to me, and the reality is that I'm not able to take advantage of high chroma. Under my hands, everything just turns gray, and I'm fine with that. Like, I've come to accept that, and I guess I've come to accept it because it's actually what I like. I guess it's part acceptance and part knowing that this is how I want to paint. Like, this is the experience that I really want to have while I'm painting. And if the colors are not super conditioning, because I have painted with super, super high chroma colors, but and I would say that those moments are highly conditioning. But if the colors are not really conditioning, then my result is probably going to always end up being grayer than what it should be, quote unquote. And I guess it's just because I wish I wouldn't have wanted to describe this little satyr that's here. It's a little too much. Ugh. Anyways, I'll just leave it. If I start working there, it's overworked. So I can't just do that very simply. I'm past that moment. If I start adding, it's going to start competing with everything else. So this moment actually needed of me to be, very, very quick on my feet and just put a couple of strokes, but I wasn't able to do that, honestly. But anyways, so I ended up doing a grayish painting. I didn't know how to solve this entirely, but I love that it actually became more about this, maybe. I think the yellow in the painting just became super, super important, and I think it actually became a very subtle, a painting that's quite subtle about complementaries. So, this very bright kind of creamy yellow against this more violet vest. And then it goes redder in the face, and I actually really liked when I added this greener hue here. It just a very nice pairing with the reds of the face, with the redder parts of the face. And I didn't want to forget about the more orange hue, but I left it for the hands. And I think, the hands, cutting the hands off was just a very, very good kind of instinctual idea. I can't honestly take credit for it because I just, part of me didn't want to make up, the information that was missing from that hand. But part of me also said, I can't have, a lot of important moments of the painting down here. It just doesn't make sense. When I thought the painting was supposed to be here, but now I know that the painting is like right here, actually. And that's very, very cool. And I love this stroke. And I think that stroke is very, very cool. It was super accidental, to be honest. Like, it just happened because I just flicked the flat brush. But sometimes those things happen, and even though we're not controlling them, we should be able to recognize them. Even though they're out of our control, we should be able to say, okay, I didn't plan on doing that, but I'm gonna keep it. It was not intended, but I have to be intelligent enough to say I'm gonna keep it. I'm choosing to keep it. That's where we come in and we can choose those things. So I think it's very nice. I think that I also like this moment because it just drew that dark shape. It just gave me enough contrast to draw that kind of dark shape and to separate it a little bit from the background. Yeah, I'm very happy. I didn't think, I thought it was going to be super colorful. When I started painting, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a really colorful painting. And it's not really, but I think it's a really nice painting. By the way, I'm going to keep this piece of tape. So what I do is I'm just going to cut it here because this paint is overlapping, but I like the bit of the hand. Oh, ¿no se nota?
No tanto.
Ah, bueno. So there's a little bit of tape down here.
Tampoco se ve el dedo.
Okay, there's a little bit of tape down there that I'm going to keep because I don't want to lift it up and to have that kind of negative space. I just liked how the painting finishes on top of the tape. It's kind of like the same thing that's happening here. Like this is the piece of tape. But I would be fine just taking this one off. But I think I'm going to keep the one in the bottom. Just so that if any of you out there want to buy the painting, just know that it has like a tiny little bit of tape. Don't take it out. That's how I want it to be. So yeah, so this was a nice painting session. I'm very, very happy. I didn't know it was gonna come out like this. Honestly, I thought I was gonna suffer a bit more. So, any questions before we finish?
Sí hay, pero hay bastantes.
Oh God. Okay, let's do this.
Y muchas son de what do you think about?
Okay.
Primera de Adam dice, what do you think of people who grade photos and copy them like paint by numbers?
Yeah, I have no personal issue with that. My only problem, I guess I have two issues with that. Like they're not big issues, and I'm going to try to explain myself. The bigger issue is that there's sometimes the artists that project photographs or paint on top of photographs, or really find that their aim is to reproduce a photograph. They feel, for example, that they have like a really good drawing ability, and to me that's not true. To me, a drawing ability is something that's completely different than being able to reproduce a photograph or to use mechanical or other means to translate a photograph into a painting. So that's the first thing, that if that's what you're doing, you have to acknowledge that you may not know how to draw, and that's totally fine. Like, be okay with that. Don't feel that you have to defend that like in strange ways. Just be cool with that. And the other thing is that I feel that by not wanting to draw, that by not wanting to see how your hand, works and how your brain works, you are like throwing away an opportunity that is so beautiful. Like it's so invaluable to us to every time we sit down and paint. Like today I learned a ton about myself and about how I navigate a painting, because I thought the painting would take honestly, I thought it was going to look very, very differently when I started painting, but this is what ended up, becoming, and I'm very happy and very fine with it. But when everything is set out for you, and when your aim is already determined by, your source, when you have a photo and that is already determining what your painting is going to be like and feel like and express, then the act of painting teaches you nothing about yourself. Then, you only are your images, this final image. And if you are that image, if the weight of what you're trying to say falls entirely upon that image, then why not just print it or do anything that doesn't have to do with painting? Why translate it into painting? It doesn't quite make sense. So you're throwing away opportunities that are so precious, that can be so, so amazing, just for the sake of image, of glorifying this image and using painting as a glorifying medium. And I don't think that the value of painting lies therein. So that's probably the reason that I I'm going to say, not rejected, because I don't think I reject any effort in art, but I just don't share anything with those efforts. You know, they speak nothing to me. If I see a painting like that, I probably walk past it, or I acknowledge that it may be a technical feat, but that's, painting is so much more than that. And I know it's more than that because there are so many paintings that are not technical feats that move me to tears. And, that's where I say, okay, so technique had nothing to do with the power of painting. And so why are we going to believe that that's where the value of painting lies in? It's not. It doesn't. So.
¿Sigo con
Sí.
las preguntas? What about Vincent Desiderio?
He's great. He's a fantastic painter. He's a fantastic painter, and he's super intelligent. Like that dude is completely in tune with what he's doing. He has very, very specific and very sensitive and sensible and completely thought out reasons for doing what he does. I sometimes don't connect with those reasons, and that doesn't bother me at all. But I connect with him as a painter, and as a painter, my God, he's as good as you could paint. Some of those large paintings, I'm not so much in tune with his triptychs his triptychs are sometimes very cryptic. They're really hard to decipher and to establish connections. I don't think and he establishes connections, so it's not like we're not supposed to. But I, as a viewer, I'm like, okay, you lost me here, but I'm just, but you're giving me enough in the material quality of the painting to not lose me entirely and to invite me to navigate your work. But yeah, that dude is incredible. Yeah, he's for sure one of the great painters of our time. So.
¿Qué piensas del trabajo de, yo digo Aris, pero no sé bien cómo se
Ah, sí, Aris. ¿En español?
Sí, en español.
Ah, es un genio, Aris. Uf, es un genio. Él y Sainer Etam, el polaco, wow, ellos dos hacen esa nueva onda, pues no es nueva porque ya lleva resto, pero digamos que se ha transformado esa onda de pintores que salieron de los talleres para trabajar en fachadas de edificios y hacer obras monumentales increíbles, que obviamente tienen que ser financiadas. O sea, hay una parte como que uno no conoce de ese ejercicio donde todos estos son unos proyectos súper bonitos, pero que tienen que tener un tipo de patrocinio y un tipo de financiación. Pero, Aris hace unas obras grandototas preciosas y son coloristas además fantásticos. O sea, a mí me sorprende eso. Yo que ahorita estoy haciendo como unas pinturitas que, pues no, o sea, trato de convencerme de que no tienen por qué ser distintas solo por el hecho de ser pequeñitas. Pero o sea, es inevitable que cuando uno ve a alguien ocupar un sitio, o sea, hacer una pintura in situ, que tiene una activación totalmente distinta porque va a ser como de la gente, del pueblo, del recorrido como tradicional de las personas en espacios públicos. ¡Wow! Eso es fascinante, fascinante. Yo acá no sabría cómo hacer una pintura de esas. Un día se me haría muy chévere que me invitaran y ser parte de un proyecto de esos, primero para aprender y después para ver si podría yo ejecutar algo así. Pero también lo más bonito se me haría que pues la pintura la taparan como al mes o algo así. O sea, no me gusta el creer que pinturas, porque están en fachadas y en obras públicas, tienen como un aire de permanencia más grande, se vuelven como los nuevos frescos. Es como neofresco urbano, yo le pondría así a eso. Y es que y creo que hay como una intención, hay veces de que esas imágenes grandototas perduren, y no, sería súper bonito que se dañaran rapidísimo. O sea, a mí no hay nada más lindo que un proyecto colosal que sea efímero. O sea, un proyecto que necesariamente lo obligue a uno a invertir muchísimo de esfuerzo y tiempo y dedicación para que la vida útil de ese proyecto sea muy corta. A mí esas cosas me fascinan, entonces. Pero bueno, dije, pero Aris es, wow, un bárbaro, un monstruo. ¿Listos?
¿Continúo?
I think we're done. I think we're good. So this is going to be it for today. I'm going to see what we do for tomorrow. I'm not saying what we're going to do for tomorrow, not because I want to save it for tomorrow. It's more because I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. So let me see what I can make up and maybe turn it into an exercise that is a little bit different from the other days. But as we always say, thank you guys for hanging out. You guys being an active company, it means a lot to us. We spend much of the year just Danny editing, in just space, and me just speaking to the ether when I do my voiceovers. So it's actually really cool to know that there's voices out there that are kind of a little more tangible, maybe, when we can interact, in this manner. It's probably not possible for us to do a lot of these, next year. It's not the way we do our work. It's just not super conducive to doing these lives. And even though they are more efficient, they're a little harder to fit in and harder to actually create a schedule around them. So that's why this one works, because it is our final week. So maybe if we take breaks, we didn't really take too many breaks this year. I think we only took 2 weeks off. Yeah, so that's, we're pretty proud of that. But maybe if we are headed to a break next year, we can actually do live videos before those weeks, and that can actually work out. But thank you, because it's super cool. It's another way of socializing what we do. It's another, it gives this exercise like a little bit of a more organic nature. So we're very grateful for that. And it wouldn't happen if you guys wouldn't be willing to put up with what we do. So thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and just keep an eye on Instagram, where I usually say, hey, we're gonna do this. And oh, by the way, tomorrow we have to start a little bit earlier. So we're gonna start at 2 o'clock. Okay, so for you guys that are listening right now, it's not gonna be 3 o'clock like we've done on the past days and like we did today. It's gonna be 2 o'clock. Okay, so and that way we can fit into our schedule just my mother inviting us to like a Christmas thing for tomorrow. So it's important to us also. Family, super important. So we can do that. So remember, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, and just keep an eye on Instagram, and we'll share what we're gonna do. And just as a small reminder, I never, if you guys know me, I don't try to shove this in your throats and say, hey, this is for sale. We don't usually do that. I don't think that sort of stuff is kind of classy. I don't like that. Me as a consumer, I hate it when people just